The Ugly Duckling. One beautiful summer day, Mother Duck was beside herself with joy to see her eggs hatch. Quack, quack, quack. "Welcome, my lovely ducklings. I am so glad you are finally here," she said. All the ducklings, except the last one, were beautiful. The last one took unbelievably longer time to hatch. And to everyone's surprise, it was odd-looking and dull grey, rather than pretty yellow. The next day, Mother Duck decided to take her ducklings to the farmyard to meet the other ducks and animals. All the ducklings flapped their wings, splashed water on all sides, and had a good time. However, the grey one was very unhappy. Other birds, even his brothers and sisters, teased him. They called him the Ugly Duckling. Deeply hurt, the Ugly Duckling decided to run away from the farmyard. He reached a river. But even here, the animals didn't stop teasing him. So he wandered further away. He reached a farm down the road. He waddled closer and saw a farmhouse and an old woman. "Beep," said the Ugly Duckling. The old woman said, "You look hungry. Come inside the house. I will get something to eat." The old woman was kind and loved to keep pets. She had a vain cat and a rude hen among the others. The hen and the cat were not friendly with the Ugly Duckling. They often insulted him and made him feel unwanted. Soon he got tired of the insults and rudeness. One night, he quietly left the house. "No one loves me," he said to himself. "I'm so ugly that even my family doesn't want to keep me. What shall I do with myself?" Wandering further, the Ugly Duckling reached a lake. It was freezing as winter had arrived. Everything was white with snow. He was having a very hard time finding food. As the days passed, he started growing weaker. The freezing weather and the absence of food were making things worse for him. Fortunately, one day, a kind farmer came by and took the duckling home. Farmer's wife took good care of the duckling, but one day, the farmer's children chased him with a stick. He got scared and fled the farmer's house. Soon he reached the same lake where the farmer had found him. Spring had arrived. It was warm and cozy. The duckling had grown and was now sporting a set of wings. He flew down to the river to swim, and when he looked down, he was surprised. He saw his reflection in the water and realized that he was a beautiful swan. he was never ugly. The other ducklings couldn't see his beauty because he was not one of them. "Come join us! You are so beautiful!" called out the swans swimming nearby. His happiness knew no bounds. His bad days had come to an end, and off he flew with them in his new... The Frog Prince. One evening, a young princess went out to take a walk by herself in the woods. When she came to a cool spring of water, she sat to rest for a while. She had a golden ball in her hand, which was her favorite plaything. She kept tossing it up into the air and catching it as it fell. While playing, she threw the ball so high that she missed catching it as it fell. Unfortunately, the ball bounced away and fell into a deep well. The princess looked into the spring for her ball, but it was too deep. She couldn't spot it, no matter how hard she tried. She began to cry and said, "If I could only get my ball again, I would give all my fine clothes and jewels and everything that I have in the world." As she was lamenting, a frog popped out of the water and said, "Princess, why are you crying? What can you do for me, you nasty frog? My golden ball has fallen into the spring." She cried more. The frog said, "I do not want your pearls and jewels and fine clothes, but if you will love me and let me live with you and eat from your golden plate and sleep on your bed, I will bring you your ball again." "What nonsense!" thought the princess. "This silly frog is talking. He might be able to get my ball for me, but he can never even get out of these woods to visit me, and therefore I will tell him he shall have what he asks." So she said to the frog, "Well, if you will bring me my ball, I will do all you ask." Satisfied with the promise, the frog dived deep into the spring. After a while, he came up with the ball in his mouth and threw it on the edge of the spring. As soon as the young princess saw her ball, she ran to pick it up, and she was so excited to have it in her hand again that she never thought of the frog, but ran home with it as fast as she could. The frog called after her, "Stay, princess! Take me with you, as you said." But she did not stop to hear a word. The next day, just as the princess had sat down to dinner, she heard a strange noise, as if something was coming up the marble staircase. And soon afterwards, there was a gentle knock at the door, and a little voice cried out and said, "Open the door, my princess dear. Open the door to your true love here, and remember the words that you and I said by the fountain in the green shade." The princess ran to the door and opened it, and there she saw the frog, whom she had quite forgotten. She was frightened and shut the door as fast as she could to come back to her seat. The princess told the king the story of how the frog took out the ball, to which the king replied, "As you have given your word, you must keep it. So go and let him in." The princess did so, and the frog hopped into the room. She took care of the frog, as she had promised. On the third night, she was astonished to see that instead of the frog, a handsome prince was looking at her with the most beautiful eyes she had ever seen. He told her that he had been cursed by a witch who had changed him into a frog, and that he had to stay as a frog till some princess should take him out of the spring and let him enter the palace. "You," said the prince, "have broken the cruel charm, and now I wish to marry you and live with you in my father's kingdom." The young princess took her father's approval and went with the prince to his kingdom, and there they lived happily ever after.